Thank you for joining us here on the Variety Tube channel. Today we're going to be dismantling a push reel lawnmower. So, just to explain a very quick difference between a regular lawnmower and a push reel. You have the cylinder blades here that actually cuts the grass as opposed to tearing it. Clearly this one has gotten plenty of use, and right now it's experiencing a few problems. So we're going to take it apart and let's get started doing that. Alright, first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the handle. Alright, simply done. Alright, if you notice here, alright, all it is held on by these pins. This is flexible. It's been in, and there you go. So that's now out of the way. Next thing that we want to do, so we can start, because we're going to need to pull the wheels off. Take these caps off. On the cap, look pretty closely, there's a little slot right there, alright, where you can fit your screwdriver in. So just put that in there. Alright, so another pin or peg, in a matter of speaking, on the other side. You pop it out as well, as you can see right there. Alright, this is on the task force. Alright, it's pretty flexible. Alright, just pop it on out there. Be cautious, don't cut yourself, because that would be bad. There you go. Again, just two pins that squish down in there. Next thing, time for socket wrench. Alright, now that we've got this part done and that cap taken off, you can see the socket. Note of interest, on the other side you have, alright, a lock nut. Alright, so you need to, of course, get a thumb wrench or so, adjust it so it'll fit right down on there. Alright, of course you know how this goes, is mirrored on the other side. What we're really going for is we're going to lock it down on here. So now, we take it apart. So, put it on one side. Be careful of the blades. Do not want to slip off and cut your hand. That will suck. If you do it properly, you can actually kind of wedge it up against there, and you actually can hold it for you. Alright, so what I've done, you can see that I wedged the wrench, alright, right up against that notch right there, and it's going to hold it in place. I can put two hands on this to sturdy it, using my legs as well. Alright, and it's coming on out, no problem. Keep in mind, you do not want all this stuff to slam down or just come loose just any kind of way, because you do not know quite how everything is set up. As that just happened. Which is fine, because all we did was lose, of course, a washer. Lock washer, slit, provides tension. And then, of course, your lock nut. This plastic right here, alright, keeps it from coming off with the different vibration and tension and whatever. Alright, now, carefully pull it off. Alright, look on the other side and make sure, in fact, this gray piece, hold it as well so that you take the entire wheel assembly off at the same time, as well as the nut holding it in. Alright, so this is what I want to see, and this is what you want to take a look at. Set that to the side like so. Make sure everything doesn't fall apart. The way this thing works is you are pushing it. As you are pushing it, you have to make sure, really, I don't think there's really a way that you can turn this in the wrong way. Just look at it. It goes down and to the right. Even if you were to take, alright, this out, flip it around, if you notice, you can screw this up. So now it's down and to the left instead of down and to the right. So please make sure that this is going in the right direction. How are we going to double check that this is in the right direction? Let's be wise. Let's put it down the way you would have it using it. Wheels are going to be moving forward. As they move forward, okay, wheel is going to be rotating this way. Alright, which means this is going to need to be this way. Alright, so that instead of hitting the angled side, it hits the flat side, which is the problem that I was having. the left wheel was not really operating and turning the way I needed it to. Another point. Take this off. Notice you have a little, of course, cotter key in a matter of speaking. Alright, that's on here, holds this shaft on. Alright, if you want to look up under here, take a look to see how this actually works. Alright, you have these gears on the inside. Of course, you got teeth on this cog. This is then turned by this. Alright, which again is it rotates, and of course, it then turns this, and it then turns your blades. And that's how this works on the inside. This rotates on around and around and around and around. Alright, notice the way this is designed. Alright, you have the smooth side or whatever, and then you have this notch. This notch is what actually turns. Alright, so it's going to wedge against there, that flat side. Alright, and it's going to turn it. But if it goes this way, then it's just going to reset. Alright, going this way, it gets caught here and it turns it. Alright, if it goes this way, it will not turn. Let's double check and make sure that we're right. Alright, notice. Now watch, go the other way. All it does is just kick it around. The wheel is going to be turning this way. That's what we want. And again, if you go backwards, alright, you can hear it resetting in there. Alright, we got plenty of grease on all of these. Alright, if you want it to, you can put some grease, so let's do that.
Okay.
Alright, what I have here, alright, is some bio-based, alright, white lithium grease, okay? It actually is biodegradable. And of course, one of the appeals of using a push reel lawnmower is you're not polluting the environment, of course, with the greenhouse gases of the internal combustion engine. Alright, so let's go on. Alright, I already cut the tip off or whatever. Let's go on, squeeze it down. Get it in there. Alright, put yourself at an angle. Set it down, make sure that you can, just depending on what you want to use. Use this to pack it down unless you don't want to get it on your hands. Alright. If you do get it on your fingers, it's all good. Alright, and that's the way, of course, packing it in there. Still not in there good enough to where you want it. Angle it down and press it in. I would suggest probably take it, fold it over. Almost kind of like a cake baker or whatever would push icing down or whatever. Okie. Now again, basically, it's really the way it goes. Alright, so what we can do, of course, is put everything back the way it was. Alright, putting everything back together. Alright, keep in mind, leave one wheel already still in place. Don't try to do both wheels at the same time or whatever. You will cause yourself a problem. Alright, you're going to have this piece that's going, this bigger gap right here. It's going to go for that. If you try to use one of the other ones, it's a problem. It's not going there. It does. And of course, that doesn't make any sense. So, again, use the other wheel as a guide. Alright. Of course, pay attention. You have the bigger hole right there on the left. And then, of course, you have these two that align with, alright, such and such and such and such. Alright. Makes sense, matches up. Alright, now, if in case you did forget, alright, do a test in a matter of speaking and double check which way, alright, because again, my pin is falling out. Consider the way the wheel is going to rotate. as you go forward, it's going to come up under, so we're going to rotate it this way. Alright, again, not the angle side, because it's just going to slip over the top, but this side, the flat side. Alright, you got an angle side, flat side. It's rotating this way. Come over the top and catch it. Come over the top and catch it. Alright, so we're going to put it through. So it's like such, and again over the top and catch it. Gonna put it back, test out, make sure. Alright. Again, when it's rolling backwards, nothing happens. So we know that's great gravy. And that's good and solid. I'm gonna go on and prop it up. Put your wheel. Really shouldn't matter. Alright, I would suggest probably doing like such. Alright, this way I can see exactly what's what. Go on and line this up. Put it down that way. And we're through. Again, you're testing it. It's going to be going this way. Turn the wheel, and you can see you're good to go. Also, keep in mind this. I wonder, is there a way we can tighten that? Let's double check. No, that would be great though, if you could tighten that wheel on there, if that's not the case. But at least we know things work the way we're supposed to. Alright, so again, double checking, rolling in reverse, no problem. Roll it forward, we're good to go. Wash it first, and that second goes on down. Use your finger, tighten it on there. Alright, and then of course, you get our socket and our wrench set back out and put it back on. Alright, and again to double check. Alright, particularly the left side, you're going to push it forward. Alright, and you're good to go. Alright, you hear and feel it locking on the right, feel it locking on the left. We're good to go. So no need to do the other wheel, is just a mirror. Alright, a few other things if you ever want to know. Right here, you have this little tension spring, and what this does is it pushes this bottom, alright, kind of cutting surface or edge against, of course, the rotating cylinder. Alright, if you can see this rust that's here, that's why you want to dry it and sharpen it after every time you cut. Alright, I didn't on purpose the last time I used it so you could see. Okay, even though I did brush it off, sand it off a little bit. Alright, because this whole edge would be brown if I didn't. Alright, just grab some simple sandpaper. It's not really that big of a deal. Try to keep your fingers flat. If you roll it around and have it like this around it, what you're going to do is you're going to give a round edge. Alright, if you notice, scissors have flat edges so that they slide or scrape across. Alright, you don't want it to kind of just touch or rub across. Alright, you want it to scrape across, scrape across, scrape across. So, which you should, if you care. Alright, and it makes a much easier much easier cutting. Alright, for those of you that use it, again, keep your fingers flat when you press across. Alright, and pull it back. Alright, you don't want to go forward, because if you think about it, if you sharpen this way, alright, when you go this way, then if you accidentally rub, you're going to rub your hand across the pre-sharp blade. So have it going this way. Also, if you notice, because you're going backwards, alright, you're not turning the wheels as you go. Alright, so let's take this good rusty one, like I said, that I left on purpose so you can see it. Alright, you see it before. Again, keeping your fingers flat. Same way that we, of course, sharpen this one. Alright, do the same thing for the bottom blade. Again, alright, it's a flat surface here. Alright, it's at this angle. Okay? It's at this angle. Alright, so keep in mind you're keeping your fingers again parallel with that. Alright, you got to be very cautious and rotate around as you go. Alright. Double check it for rust. And if you don't see any, alright, then we're good. And listen to this, should be a different sound. Alright, one last thing that you may want to check. Check and see the touching. Alright, does it touch here? Alright, you want it just to barely touch. Alright, if it's too tight, you'll have a hell of a time trying to cut your grass. Alright, if it's too loose, it'll even be worse because actually you'll end up ripping grass out as opposed to cutting. Alright, so if you ever are struggling with your lawnmower, push reel that is, double check and see is your blade not touching. Alright, so you'll see light, and then you should see no light, and then again you should start seeing light. So you basically, if you see light in between your blades, then you know it's not right. Alright, as long as it's touching, check the right and the left. Again, you should see a shadow, or you should see darkness where the blade does touch. So long as you see that, then you're good to go. Alright, make sure all the way down to the other side, because this side seems a little loose, which is where this comes in, right here. Alright, this is, okay, the bolt that you can use to adjust this spring tensioner. Alright, of course you can use a flathead or a socket wrench. I prefer to use a socket wrench. But be gentle with it. Alright, a little bit goes a long way. You got to keep in mind, alright, just little millimeters in a matter speaking of distance, if not picometers or something even ridiculously smaller than that. Alright, so again, it just needs to touch. You shouldn't see any gap between here and there. If you do, adjust it. Alright. Alright. I think it was a little loose over here. Alright, not much, just a little, maybe that. And keep in mind, each blade sometimes is different. Alright. Nothing's perfect. Alright, so just look at them. Like I said, I do think it's a little loose. Alright. This may or may not fit down here. Maybe one of those things where it's all use the same one. So yes, 1.5 inch socket does work for this. Again, this is a Task Force 16. Alright, notice you're probably barely going to be able to tell that I'm turning this. That's all I wanted to turn. Alright, probably, like I said, couldn't see it. Like a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch as far as rotated movement that actually took place. If you move it again too much, alright, it'll freeze on you. Alright, you want it to rotate freely. Freely rotating is good grass cutting. Though I believe my blades in this video are a little too tight, I have since loosened them. Feel free to experiment with tensions until you find the right mix for you. It must be in the middle. Don't be afraid of change and/or try something new. Alright. Well, thank you for joining us here on the Variety Tube channel. This is Charles Edgar Hampton, taking the time to show you how to service, alright, your push reel lawnmower. Alright. One little thing you did not do, go on and put your cap back. Again, align the 2 holes with 2 little pegs or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. If you need to hammer them in there, hammer them in there. And you'll be good to go. So as always, God bless and peace. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like if you appreciated this video or learned something. Remember people, every little click helps. God's blessings.